King David and the Missing Kingdom. The stone that confirms his existence. He is the shepherd boy who became king, the author of the Psalms, and the ancestor of Christ. King David is the greatest figure in Israel's early history. Yet, for nearly a century, skeptics have argued that David was a myth, a fictitious folk hero invented centuries later to provide a glorious past for the monarchy. They claim the so-called United Monarchy was merely a small, minor tribal chiefdom, not a great kingdom. They demanded one thing: proof. An external, non-biblical source confirming David's existence. Today, we reveal the stone inscription, a shocking enemy boast that absolutely silenced the critics, validating the Bible's historical foundation. To ensure full transparency, please note that this video uses AI-generated visuals to bring history to life, faith, and facts, where ancient mysteries meet modern exploration, thesis, and introduction. The chief skeptical attack against the biblical narrative of David is its grand scale. That there was no mighty Israelite kingdom around 1000 BC, and thus David and Solomon were merely literary creations. Our thesis is this: the stunning discovery of the Tel Dan Stele in 1993 and the existing evidence of the Messi Stele provide irrefutable, external, non-biblical epigraphic proof. Written records by Israel's enemies that firmly establish the existence of the Davidic dynasty house of David and an established, powerful kingdom ruling from Jerusalem in the 9th century BC, centuries before the skeptical timelines allowed. The skeptics claim. The prevailing skepticism regarding King David and the United Monarchy approximately 1000 BC largely stems from the minimalist school of biblical scholarship. Their argument, which gained prominence in the late 20th century, was based on the lack of extra-biblical reference to David or his immediate descendants. From the 10th and 9th centuries BC, minimalists asserted that the entire narrative was a pious fraud, a powerful foundational myth created in the Persian or Hellenistic period, hundreds of years after David supposedly lived. They argued that the biblical descriptions of a large, complex administrative state stretching from the Euphrates to Egypt were absurd exaggerations. They proposed that David was, at best, a minor, forgettable bandit chief of a small hill country village, and certainly not the founder of a regional empire. The core of their challenge was the argument from silence. Since no monumental inscription from 1000 BC explicitly named David, they set an impossible burden of proof that every significant ruler must have their existence confirmed on a monument precisely contemporary with their reign, which is a standard rarely met even for far later, better documented civilizations. This denial had profound theological implications, undermining the historical claim of the Davidic covenant and, by extension, the Messiah's lineage. The scholarly consensus, or so it was argued, was that the biblical David was a fabrication, and that Israelite history began much later. After the United Monarchy had been dissolved into the separate kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the core evidence revealed in the summer of 1993, at the site of Tel Dan in northern Israel, a team led by archaeologist Avraham Byron unearthed 3 fragments of a monumental basalt stele. This discovery instantly shattered the minimalist consensus and validated the foundational historicity of the Davidic dynasty. The inscription on this stone, now known as the Tel Dan Stele, was written in Aramaic and dated to the 9th century BC, specifically around 850 to 840 BC. It was a victory monument erected by an enemy king, likely Hazael of Aram Damascus, boasting about his military success against 2 rival kingdoms. The boast included 2 critical, identifiable historical names: King of Israel. This confirms the existence of the northern kingdom of Israel. House of David Bitweed. This specific, technical dynastic name refers to the ruling house of the southern kingdom of Judah. The phrase House of David is used as a technical political term for the ruling dynasty of Judah, exactly as it is used dozens of times throughout the Bible. This is not a reference to David as an individual, but to the entire line of kings descended from him. Why is this finding so devastating to skepticism? Time. The inscription dates to the mid-9th century BC, only 150 years after David's traditionally accepted reign. This is too early for a myth to have crystallized and become accepted as an established technical term by an enemy nation. Source: it is not a biblical document. It is the hostile, proud boast of an Aramean king, who clearly recognized the house of David as the legitimate ruling power of a powerful neighboring state he had defeated. An enemy would not invent a fictional dynasty to boast about defeating them. They would only reference the genuine political power they had overcome. The House of David was not a literary invention. It was an established, known, and feared political reality in the ancient Near East. Contextual proof and alignment. The Tel Dan Stele's confirmation of the Davidic dynasty is supported by another monumental inscription discovered decades earlier, the Mesa Stele or Moabite stone. The Mesa Stele, found in 1868, also dates to the mid-9th century BC and was erected by King Mesa of Moab, documenting his successful revolt against Israel. The text aligns precisely with the historical events described in 2 Kings 3-4-5. While the name David itself is fragmented on the Mesa Stele, the latest, most detailed analysis of the broken inscription strongly indicates another reference to the House of David, possibly in the line mentioning the defeat of the king of Judah. Political alignment. Together, the Tel Dan Stele from the north and the Mesa Stele from the east confirm that by the mid-9th century BC, the twin kingdoms of Israel and Judah were established political entities of regional significance, capable of both conquering and being conquered. Precisely the reality the Bible portrays following the division of David and Solomon's kingdom. Archaeological city confirmation. Skeptics claimed Jerusalem was too small and primitive in David's time to be the capital of an empire. However, excavations in the city of David have uncovered a massive, stepped stone structure, a monumental retaining wall and platform that required immense organization and labor. This structure, dating to the 10th century BC, demonstrates that Jerusalem was, in fact, a substantial, well-organized urban center and capital city in the time of David and Solomon, refuting the claim that the capital was merely a small village. The cumulative evidence from these 2 enemy steles and the monumental construction in Jerusalem proves that the biblical Davidic kingdom was not a myth. It was a major regional power recognized by its neighbors. David was not merely a tribal chief. He was the powerful founder of a real, enduring, and historically confirmed dynasty. Significance and defense. The discovery of the Tel Dan Stele was the most significant archaeological find of the 20th century regarding the Hebrew Bible. It permanently removed the argument that King David was a mythological figure. The enemy's boast became God's defense. An Aramean king, intending to record his own triumph, instead provided the historical confirmation that King David founded an enduring dynasty and kingdom. Centuries before the skeptics claimed the stories were written, the Tel Dan Stele stands as silent, unmovable proof. David was real. His dynasty was real. And the foundation of the messianic lineage is rooted in solid history. If you found the evidence in this deep dive compelling, know this. The mission of Faith and Facts is to systematically dismantle skepticism by showing that the Bible is the most archaeologically confirmed book in human history. To see the full scope of the evidence, make sure you watch our full-length documentary compilation, Ancient Truths, The Unshakable Foundations of Scripture, where we tie all these proofs together. If you want to support this work, please hit that like button, subscribe for weekly evidence updates, and share this video with one skeptic you know. This presentation utilized AI-generated imagery and synthesized voiceover narration to maximize the visual quality and delivery of this historical and archaeological analysis. Thank you for watching, and may your faith be strengthened by the facts.